Hello, everyone. It's an honor to speak to you today about a topic that's near and dear to my heart: finding your voice and building your village. As you all know, this year's WIP conference theme is about build what's next, envisioning the next iteration of products we manage, determining what's next in our careers, and building our community and networks to help us get there. We all have the power to create the future we want. But to do that, we need to be part of a community, a supportive community of trusted advisors, mentors, and kindred colleagues who can guide us, challenge us, and help us achieve more than we ever thought possible. Today, I want to share my personal story of finding my voice and building a community on LinkedIn. As some of you know, I came from a very traditional Chinese family where modesty is highly valued. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down was the teaching that my parents have taught me. So for a long time, instead of advocating for what I wanted, I always default to just put my head down and work extremely hard to do what's needed to be done. So tenacity and modesty are values that serve me well in many ways for many years. But as I enter the workforce, I found myself struggling to find my voice and advocate for myself or my team. As fellow product managers, many of you know how important it is to advocate and bring visibility to your product area and to your team. I realized that if I wanted to have a more powerful and purposeful career, I needed to speak up and find my voice. But it wasn't until I started finding my community that I truly found my voice. In the early days of my career, I was fortunate enough to be part of a women's leadership community in Hong Kong, very much like WIP, where I get to experience the power of community and mentorship firsthand. I vividly remember the day when I saw advice from one of my mentors, Vivian, about how I could improve my executive presence. I'm sure a lot of you will struggle with that in your early 20s. So Vivian was this successful executive and has always been a role model to me. As we sat down for coffee, I share my concerns about not feeling confident enough in high-pressure situations and struggle to communicate my ideas effectively, especially, in a male-dominated environment in finance and consultancy back then. Vivian listened intently and then shared her own experiences and struggles with building executive presence. She gave me practical tips on how to command a room, project confidence, and communicate persuasively. Her advice was incredibly helpful, but what touched me the most was the empathy and kindness she showed me. It was then I realized the true power of mentorship and community. Her generosity inspired me to pay it forward and become a mentor to others who could benefit from my experiences and insights. As a result, I began mentoring and supporting young women who needed advice in their careers. I share two of my favorite mentees in my recent guest posts to W's The Perspectives newsletter. One of them was Stella, my former analyst, who was a really shy girl, but ended up deciding to leave Hong Kong and pursue a master's degree at the Harvard Kennedy School. She now works at the International Monetary Fund, IMF, living her dream of working in international development, helping her grow from a shy girl to commence all the courage to play bigger was one of the greatest things I have ever done. Another person I coach, Amy, was a mid-career pivoter and the first in her family to graduate college. She wanted to become a product manager. And even though she received over 100 rejections, she landed her first PM job after we worked together for 6 months. These kind of interactions touch me deeply and solidify my belief that we rise by lifting others. And that has become a cornerstone of my philosophy as a mentor, a leader, and a content creator. Over the years, I work with hundreds of such individuals, mostly in one-on-one and small group settings. Many have told me that they benefited a lot from my sharing, my advice, my teaching, but I have never thought about scaling my advice. I was reluctant to share publicly because it felt so unnatural and self-promotional. Hey, remember, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. So for years, I quietly continued my work in coaching without publishing anything. In early 2020, I transitioned formally into product management after a decade working in similar domains, but without the former title. So I finally became a product manager and getting very familiar with this new concept called a growth loop, a self-reinforcing compounding loop where you invest inputs and it starts to get the flywheel running and it creates more and more output, right? The flywheel starts spinning. And I was looking for force multipliers to help reaccelerate my product career and create the leverage I needed to mentor people at scale. Hey, content creation could be that growth loop. But the thought of putting myself out there and sharing my personal story was really daunting. It was then I decided to turn to my village for support. My friends, former mentees, my family, and even my former manager at the time, Albert Huang, encouraged me to take the leap and share my story, my knowledge with the world. They reminded me of all the times I had helped them and how much they appreciate and benefited from my advice. They believed in me and gave me the courage to put myself out there. With their support, I began to post content more regularly. At first, it was really nerve-wracking. I feel like I was exposing myself and my vulnerabilities to the world. But as I continue to share my experiences, my story, something magical happened. I began to connect with people on a deeper level. People started reaching out to me, telling me how much my content had helped them. As I gained more followers and views, I realized that I had found my voice. Content creation has given me a platform to share my knowledge and help others. It has also helped me break free from the traditional Confucian value of modesty that had held me back for so long. By sharing my personal story and experiences, I was able to connect with others in a much more deeper and meaningful way. But none of this would have been possible without the support from my village. Their support gave me courage to take that first step, to share my knowledge and my story with the world. They helped me find my voice and establish myself as a thought leader in product management. And most importantly, they reminded me that I didn't have to do it alone. So in the past 2 years, I must say that I'm extremely grateful that I was able to amass over 20 million views on my content and build an engaged global community of over 80,000 followers. I've been invited to speak at conferences like this one, Women in Product, and The Product Conference. I even hosted my own show, the PM Learning Series, with hundreds of viewers from all over the world joining me live on most Fridays. Thank you. But none of that matters as much as the connections and friendships I've made with people through my content. The messages and comments I receive from people who have helped by my advice reminded me every day that content creation is about more than just views and followers. It's about building a community, a village of like-minded people who supported each other and help each other grow. Reflecting over the past 2 years of creating content and building a community on LinkedIn, I've learned quite a few valuable lessons that I'd like to share with you. First and foremost is progress over perfection. It's really crucial, especially for women, to put aside our doubts, our fear, our desire to be perfect, and instead focus on taking that action, that first step. Because the imposter that's screaming in our head, telling us that we can't do it, we don't have the courage to do it. Only by taking small actions consistently can we sort of quiet that poster. It will never stop screaming, but you can have a better way to manage that screaming. And you keep learning and making improvements as we go. So as scary as it sounds, making peace with that imposter, that inner critic in your head is the first step to really break through. The second key lesson I learned is don't do it alone. Hey, content creation can be extremely lonely, right? But connecting with others, especially like-minded individuals who have also passionate about sharing their stories, who have experience, who's been there, done that, at least have helped me feel less lonely and isolated. Diego Granandos, many of you know him as another top PM, content creator, knowledge creator on LinkedIn, was actually one of my early mentors / collaborators who told me not to be worried about how to differentiate my content, which is a mental block for many of you as early content creators, but really focus on being consistent. So by working together with people like Diego, Melanie, who's my other PM friends that we collaborate on a productivity series together, Marlene, who's the product leaders in AI product management, we bounce ideas off each other, provide feedback and supports, and cross-promote each other's content. By building relationships with other creators has also helped me open up new opportunities, right? From getting additional speaking gigs to content partnership, to other side projects and many more. In short, collaborating with others has been a crucial in helping me getting started and keeping me motivated to continue creating and building my community on LinkedIn. Another important lesson that I learned is that we really don't need to wait to have a lot of experience to start sharing content, to make an impact, to build a community, or establishing a village. Starting small and sharing personal growth journeys and learning experiences can inspire others and start to establish ourselves as experts in the field. Here, consistency is really the key to this long game. And we can always iterate as we go. We don't have to be fixated on being perfect from the get-go. Last but not least, building a community is not just about the numbers. It's about embracing an identity-based success metric. Like my fellow creator, Daliana Liu, who's another thought leader in the data science space, has once taught me that it's really essential to think about the type of creator and leader I want to be, rather than solely focus on follower growth and engagement metrics. I've also learned the importance of having a very clear purpose and vision for myself and my content. And I constantly remind myself of this quote from Benjamin Franklin that I really like. What I am to be, I am now becoming. What I am to be, I am now becoming. This has helped me stay grounded and focus the impact I want to create through my content and community. As we come together at this year's WIP conference to discuss how we can build what's next and create the future we want. Let's remember the power of community in achieving our goals. Building a supportive network of people who share our values and vision can make all the difference in achieving success. It's easy to feel lost and alone, but remember, you're never truly alone. There are people who believe in you and want to see you succeed. Together, we can create a powerful community of support and uplifts each other. When you share your voice more widely, you can use your content as platforms to inspire and connect with others who share our passions and aspirations. By building a community around us, we can create a future we want to see. So, take that leap of faith and share your unique story with the world. You never know who might be listening and how much your experience might inspire others. Thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions or want to dive deeper into any part of my story, my experience, and continue this conversation, please join me for a live discussion later. I look forward to seeing and chatting with many of you there. Let's continue to inspire and support each other as we build what's next.